9 out of 10 Western Australians support euthanasia. Recently, there's been a recent poll regarding whether euthanasia should be legalised in Australia. Opposing politicians are against this because they don't know much about the topic, and a lot of Western Australians want euthanasia to be legalised. Do you agree that euthanasia should be allowed in Australia?
I do. I will support it in a safe and sensible way. I will support it. Because I saw my mum suffer, and I don't want that for anyone.
Very pro-choice. I don't think other people should be able to make decisions for people and they don't fully understand their circumstances. So yeah, I do.
And should the government introduce programs to let people know about this and make society a bit more aware of just how tough it is for some people?
Yeah, absolutely. I think people speak from a position of privilege, and when they are more educated and understand what other people are going through, then they're going to have a more humanistic approach.
And last year there was a man called David Goodall, who was a scientist who flew to Switzerland because he couldn't get euthanasia in Australia, and he obviously had to pay for his flights and everything like that. Do you think this is appropriate?
No, I think it's totally inappropriate, and what him and his family had to go through was unbelievable. And why shouldn't people be able to do that in their own country?
I think it should be a choice if there are the right controls put in place. We don't inflict levels of pain on animals or others, but we choose to do so with humans. So I think it needs to be looked at with the right controls.
And how, if it was to go forward, how can the government let society know what programs should they allow programs to be released to the public?
Oh, look, I think there's enough examples around the world where this has been put in place, and I think they should leverage off what has worked in those countries, learn some lessons from what hasn't worked, and sort of adapt it to an Australian flavour.
And last year there was a scientist called David Goodall who was about 104 years old. His body was slowing down and he couldn't really do much about it. Yet he had to pay for his tickets to go to Switzerland and get the euthanasia done for him. Do you think this was appropriate?
His was an interesting one because it wasn't as though he was dying. It was more that his enjoyment out of life had disappeared. He didn't appear to be in significant pain, but he was over 100 years old. He'd had a great life. So I don't know how those should be handled. I think maybe initially they look at those that are in pain, those that are dying, until a society like Australia gets used to the thought that euthanasia is an acceptable thing, and then maybe extend it to other things later on.
I am Liam, reporting for Undercurrent, West TV, Perth.